Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PC, and this is my guide for Survivor difficulty. This is installment the second with Lara Croft, and we're in the border of Syria here. I mentioned in the last video that patch notes had been released for this game. They were released on, let's see, when was it? Last night. So that would have been the 5th of February this month, and I wanted to go over with those because there's nothing in this video that really warrants any kind of tactics or imparting of knowledge, but maybe one part is. But let's see, Nixus, the people who did this port, they fixed a lot of the startup issues that Steam users had. That's one of them, and they also updated options, among other things, for the gamepad and for the mouse and keyboard. One of them was independent mouse sensitivity for aim and regular navigation, mouse and gamepad x-axis inversion, which I talked about in the last video, which I'm really grateful for. Option to disable keyboard button prompts, option to disable mouse smoothing. Oh, this part here, you definitely want to investigate these murals here, and then investigate the monolith, because it will tell you the secret stash location of some of the Byzantine coins, which are used in this game to purchase items ranging from clothing to equipment to what else do they give you? Just different things in the supply shack. You know, you can pick up anything from like gear to, as I mentioned, just different things. But let's see, what else did these people fix? There was also an issue. Some users were having experiences where the mouse cursor was not always disappearing from the screen. So that was an issue that I faced too, and I'm actually really glad they fixed it. But once you investigate this monolith, do you see how it says a little red slash over the magnifying glass right there? That's telling you that there's some dialogue that's being spoken and you can't interact with it quite yet. But I thought it was kind of funny that you get 7 coins here. That's a lot of coins. Normally you get 2. See, it says 0 right there. And then I'm going to inspect the menu here, and if you look in the top right, it says 7 under those coins on the legend. If you rewind that and pause it, that's quite a lot of coins. It's a great way to start the game out. You know, they just did a lot of fixes. Nixus did. But you might wonder, what is Survivor difficulty? It's a difficulty that who made this game? Crystal Dynamics? I did fall right there. Fortunately, it wasn't a pit. It's a difficulty where, okay, let's just get it all out right now. What this difficulty is: you take more damage, enemies take more damage, aim assist is disabled. Resources are more scarce. What else? Oh, things when you upgrade them are more costly as far as the experience you need to get things. And then of course the health doesn't regenerate on this game, although you can use healing items. So I personally don't think that healing items should be allowed on a hardest difficulty such as this, but they are permitted, providing you have the resources to craft them. I won't be using healing items in this run. I will be making upgrades to the character's health endurance, her tolerance for getting damaged, because if you don't buy certain upgrades such as those, then you can't unlock the other ones. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that regard. One of the early upgrades that I like to really buy is the one where you auto loot the corpses of foes that you stealth kill. It's really handy. It's one of my favorite skills in the game, actually. But what does the difficulty really mean for you? It's not a hard game. There are some sections later in the game where cover is a little scarce itself, and just there's a couple of questionable parts, but by and large, it's a very simple campaign. What really shines for me in this game is the stealth. The combat when you're doing the shooting, it's very mundane. It's very how do you say it? Mediocre. It's very mediocre. It always makes me really hungry to play Gears of War, just because the shooting is so wanting in, you know, just the visceral feel that you have in a game like Gears of War. But so it's not a game that really needs a guide, but since I've run through the game completely now, I do think it's worthy of a guide. There's me having a little problem with the aiming because, as I mentioned, as much as I like to have the look rotation in the game with the x-axis inverted, I don't like to well, I don't have a choice, but I really don't like to have my look rotation inverted when I'm aiming, if that makes sense. Well, it's not really the look inversion, it's the aiming rotation on the screen. This particular puzzle, I knew exactly how to do it. I was just having some problems not being able to shoot while submerged in the water here, so I had to go back over here now. Anytime you need to know the way, just click in the R3 button, or the what's it called on the Xbox 360 controller? I guess it's just called RS, right stick.
Might be a way to release that old platform.
But but what, Big? Speak up. I'm not really sure what else to impart right now. Oh yeah, what I was saying was that the main draw of this game for me is the stealth. I really like doing the stealth. If you completely stealth a section and or sneak past it without being spotted, you get a little tag that says stealthy with an additional experience points, normally 75, I believe. And I think the game, for me, it shines and it's at its funnest when you're doing the stealth. I really like how it feels, and whenever I'm doing the gunfights in this game, I'm usually bored out of my mind. But when I'm doing the stealth, I'm looking here, I'm looking there, I'm trying to figure out the rotations of the enemies, trying to use the distractions. It's really good. I love this game, and it is a week old now, so hopefully people will still need it. Will I be covering optional side quests and tombs? I don't know right now, because some of the tombs you do have to come back using different items to get them. For instance, one of the tombs, you have to have the recurve bow to be able to tear down a wall to get to one of the tombs. I'm almost positive of it. And, that would be really difficult to accommodate in a guide, because I'd have to do a separate video of it. And that's not too much of an issue. It's just the fact that, if I'm going to make one exception there, then why not make exceptions all around? But what I think I'll do is I will tell you how many tombs are in which regions, and I will also make suggestions that you do them, and also to partake in the optional side quests, because they do give you some pretty good stuff sometimes. Sometimes when you're doing them, they just give you different gear and stuff. I won't be using any gear that has passive abilities, like you take less damage or things like that. But I really don't like the fact that there is no New Game Plus on this game. I think it would really have worked out well to just have, to take all of your upgrades and start a new campaign. Because something like the Rope Ascender would be nice to have early on in the game. So that you can travel more swiftly on those ropes. But I'm really not asking to be completely overpowered at the beginning. I really just wish everything carried over, like all your currency and stuff, and so you can start the game with more Byzantine coins and things. But I have gone through this game, and some of the fights later on in the game, it's mostly the fights with the Deathless that are really hard. Like, truly, like, a brutal time and Uncharted time. Anything else is just, like, you take a fight like those fights, and you kind of wonder why the rest of the game is so simple. But those fights are just normal fights on Brutal and Uncharted. So anyway, we're gonna meet up with what's his name, who, spoiler alert, just leave now if you don't want to hear. He is the final boss. He's actually really simple. These guys just take one bullet per thug. There's two guys. That's it. There's gonna be one guy down the corridor here, but he does get killed. And the game's looking nice, isn't it? I would say it's looking nice for high quality settings. Excuse me. But we're just running on down here. And we're going to be wrapping up with this level. The next chapter will have a lot more to do rather than just doing platforming and exploration. But that has been installment the second, you guys. I am going to see you in very short order in installment the third. So just make sure you jump over this last gulf, and I'll see you there. Take care.